Thank you for watching Scary Bear Attacks. If you like this episode, please remember to hit the like button and leave a comment or two, then subscribe and click on the bell to receive notifications of whenever we release new videos. Also, please remember to share them to your social media.
Welcome back to Scary Bear Attacks. Today's episode takes us to the north-central wilderness of Glacier National Park in western Montana. Elk Mountain rises like a silent sentinel above the Belly River region. This rugged summit, not far from the U.S.-Canada border, is known for its challenging trails, open alpine meadows, and striking views of the surrounding peaks and glacial valleys. The area is among the most remote corners of the park, favored by hardcore backcountry adventurers and naturalists with a taste for solitude. The climate at Elk Mountain is typically subalpine, being cool and windy even in the summer, with afternoon highs rarely exceeding the upper 60s and overnight temperatures often dropping below freezing by late August. Storms can roll in fast, and the terrain, punctuated by scree slopes, cliff bands, and glacial basins, demands caution and respect. Flora at this elevation includes hardy trees like whitebark pine, subalpine fir, and Engelmann spruce. Shrubs such as Sitka alder, mountain heather, and dwarf huckleberry cling to the slopes, while low-growing berry plants, especially serviceberry, grouse whortleberry, and beargrass, dot the landscape. These berry sources are critical to bears during late summer, a period of hyperphagia, when they consume thousands of calories daily to prepare for hibernation. This part of the park is home to both black and grizzly bears, though grizzlies dominate the higher terrain. Despite decades of education and improved wildlife management, one fact remains. When a human crosses the invisible threshold of a protective mother bear's tolerance, the results can be catastrophic. On April 25, 1987, 40-year-old Charles Gibbs was hiking with his wife, Glenda. He was a nature photographer with a deep appreciation for the wild. No stranger to Glacier National Park, Charles had taken numerous solo trips into the backcountry. On this particular trip, the Gibbs set out for Elk Mountain with camera gear and full of curiosity. Reportedly equipped with a quality film camera and extra rolls of film, Charles carried no bear spray or firearm, which was common for hikers and photographers of the era. His friends and colleagues described him as passionate, methodical, and somewhat fearless in his pursuit of capturing rare moments in the wild. Glenda and Charles had spent the day hiking around Elk Mountain and were back downhill heading toward their car when a silhouette on the adjacent slope took focus. Gibbs couldn't believe his luck. A sow grizzly with 3 two-year-old cubs was browsing their way across the hillside. He'd always dreamt of getting one of his photographs featured in his favorite periodical called The Hungry Horse News. Although some of his photos were interesting, the editor and publisher of the paper had reviewed and rejected every photo sent to him from Gibbs. Although lacking a compelling photo portfolio, Gibbs was convinced the mama bear and her babies were the perfect subjects for him. He was certain that once he dropped a series of photographs of this bear family on Kennedy's desk, he would be in like Flynn, however that goes. Now Glenda could see a certain fascination flood across his expression. She watched as he stepped forward, as if he were in a stupor, slowly lumbering toward the grizzlies. The bears were only 100 yards away at this point, and already well within the safety distance for any hiker to approach grizzlies, but they seemed to mesmerize Charles, and that spell was beyond Glenda's power to break. The worried woman began telling Charles that he needed to come back to the car with her. She likely used every excuse in the book to pull his attention away from the grizzlies, but Charles refuted every argument she could present. Somehow the grizzlies presented a hypnotic subject to the photographer, and he hadn't gone unnoticed by the bears. Upon seeing Glenda and Charles, the sow brought the attention of her cubs to the people with a sharp woof. All 4 bears glared in Charles' direction as he began closing the distance between them. The cubs took turns standing on their hind legs and dropping back down to huff and chuff their concerns as the sow began to take slow and methodical steps. Her head was high, and her ears pointed in Charles' direction, taking in every detail of his presence provided. His scent filled their nostrils, his image filled their vision, and the crunch of the branches as he approached compiled as evidence to his intentions. According to investigators, the developed film revealed a chilling sequence. A sow with her cubs, initially 100 yards away, eyeing Gibbs with rising agitation. The bear appears alert, then agitated, and then closing fast. The final image captured was a blurry frame of the sow at a distance of approximately 50 yards, mid-charge, ears pinned, and mouth open, classic signs of an imminent attack. Based on forensic evidence at the scene afterward, investigators believe Charles had climbed into a tree as the grizzlies closed in on him. He likely thought the sow was unable or unwilling to climb the tree to attack him. Charles was wrong. As the evidence showed, the sow did just that and pulled him from the safety of the tree. She mauled him mercilessly until he stopped moving. His body was later found mauled and partially buried nearby, in a behavior known as caching, where bears may cover remains with dirt, vegetation, or debris, possibly to return later. Searchers located his backpack, torn and shredded, and nearby the remnants of his camera gear. The response from the park rangers was swift but somber. Recovery teams faced a dangerous task, extracting Gibbs' remains from a zone where an aggressive mother grizzly was likely still present. Armed personnel secured the area, and tracking teams eventually located a large female grizzly, accompanied by cubs in the vicinity. Due to the risk she posed and the proximity to a fatal attack, the decision was made to euthanize the bear. Forensics confirmed she was the attacker based on bite patterns, hair samples, and her behavior. Her cubs, deemed too young to survive on their own, were also euthanized, a deeply controversial decision at the time, but one consistent with park policy. Autopsy results revealed that Gibbs died quickly, likely from massive trauma to the head and upper torso. Charlie Gibbs' photos were eventually published in the Hungry Horse News in an article about his attack and death. It was inferred that the bear charged after Gibbs unknowingly entered her comfort zone and failed to recognize or retreat quickly enough when her behavior shifted from defensive to offensive. The sow was defending herself and her cubs from a perceived threat. Speaking of cubs, our Cub Tier membership on Patreon, linked below, will grant you ad-free early access to our episodes, and the $3 per month goes a long way in helping me continue to produce educational and entertaining content like this. This incident served as a warning that even seasoned outdoorsmen and observers like Gibbs can cross an invisible line in grizzly country, only to tragically realize the bear makes the rules. Glacier National Park spans over 1 million acres and is home to an estimated 300 to 600 grizzly bears, one of the most robust populations in the lower 48. The park is divided into both front country and back country zones, with the latter, like Elk Mountain, seeing far less human activity and far more bear habitat overlap. Mother grizzlies with cubs are responsible for the majority of defensive attacks on humans in North America. These attacks are almost never predatory, but are instead triggered by perceived threats to cubs or surprise encounters. Bear behavior can shift from curiosity to aggression in seconds. From 1967 through the 1990s, bear attacks in Glacier became rare, but never disappeared completely. The death of Charles Gibbs is one of a handful of fatal incidents involving a photographer or naturalist who approached wildlife too closely, even with the best of intentions. After reviewing the facts surrounding this episode, I'm left with a few questions for you. Do cameras make some backcountry travelers forget they are visitors in the wilderness and still subject to predators? Did the sow intend to eat Charles, or did she cache his corpse for another reason? Why do some people become so enchanted with bears that they will overlook their own safety? I'll gladly read and reply to your thoughts, so post them in the comments section below, and let's talk about it.
Thank you for watching Scary Bear Attacks. If you've enjoyed this episode, please consider clicking on the like button and clicking on the bell icon. We'll help you know when we post our new episodes. Posting our video links to your social media profiles furthers awareness, and it's fun. We slashed our prices in our merch store, linked below, so check out the bargains there while you shop. As a member of our human community, remember to adventure bravely and be careful out there, especially in bear country.